Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Tape marker, action. What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I am your host, Ryan D. aka Ryan680.
I'm Angela, the Chaldeans.
And this is Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. Thank you so much for making this a part of your day. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. But let's get right to it. Mission accomplished. This is it, guys. This movie, you know, Tom Cruise, of course, the lead actor who's been in it for so many years.
It's a formidable franchise.
Yeah, no, it really is for Paramount, especially for a studio, Paramount Studio, who's really had a struggle in the financial world, in finances and budget and everything. But let's get right to it. Angela, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the final movie of this really iconic franchise, especially for Tom Cruise. It is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So Ethan Hunt and the IMF team continue their search for the terrifying AI known as the Entity, which has infiltrated intelligence networks all over the globe, with the world's governments and a mysterious ghost from Ethan's past on their trail. Joined by new allies and armed with the means to shut the entity down for good, Hunt is on the race against time to prevent the world as we know it from changing forever.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, I know it's been a while since we've seen the last one, and I feel like this kicks right back into basically where we left off. I do like that it did start with a small refresher because it has been some time. And not just a refresher for the last one, but basically all of the films in this franchise. So I will say I really liked that how it tied that way. But what were your first thoughts, your impressions walking out of the theater after seeing this final film?
Yeah, it's very intense. It's a very intense action thriller. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, since the last one that came out, I really enjoyed. The last one was not too bad either. I have to say though, I'm the outsider coming in. And I haven't been a fan of the Mission Impossible movies, and I know everyone's gonna hate on me, but this is this is not a fan, but still a fan of this movie. And so I really enjoyed this film. It's a really good action packed. I mean, it's really, when we talk about action packed movies, I rarely say that, and this one is filled over the top with action. Everything was
it's gotta go out with a bang.
Yeah, it's about a mission impossible, right? So it's literally in the title, The Final Reckoning. I don't know how many times I was trying to count on the drive home. I was literally trying to count how many times they said that in the movie. I think they said it like 5 times. I want to say that, but anyways, so it just, Tom Cruise, the emotional depth we got. I really did love how they focused a lot on the nostalgia of the legacy of Ethan and his character and his characters that he's met throughout the years, what he's encountered, who's died, stuff like that. So I really did appreciate that. That was really good. And this is me coming from an outsider in, right? One of the key components here that I really do love about film is that I love the history of film. It shows the history, shows where we've started. What have we done to come to this point of our lives? And I love that, and how it connects it all. And I love that it really connected all the storylines, if you will. And yes, it kind of went overboard on certain aspects that made Tom Cruise a little superhuman. But hey, whatever. It's movie cinema magic, and so. And there were some moments in here that CGI was kind of like, it's a little bit noticeable, but it's fine. I mean, this budget was insane though. So we'll talk about budget a tad bit later. But I enjoyed this movie. I had a great time watching this. And that's the thing too. She's laid out the groundwork from playing that previous role, now playing this, which is almost similar, if you will, just a different spy and everything. So it's very similar. So. But I enjoyed this movie. But Angela, what did you think of this film? Did you like it, hate it? You withstand a 3-hour movie pretty much, but yeah.
Yeah, I will say the runtime, we will preface it by saying the runtime is longer. It's a little over 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah.
And it does, you kind of feel it a little bit. But again, you have all this action thrown at you. There's so many scenes. And I actually still do appreciate, I've had heard a while back that Tom Cruise does his own stunts, and if he does still with this film, it's just amazing. And I just love seeing him on camera. I think the return of the familiar faces, the characters that we've known and come to love, I think that was it's always great, you know.
Definitely.
Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg,
Mm-hmm.
Haley Atwell. So, and even some familiar faces from the last one, the part one. So again, I loved seeing all these characters and new faces. You know, there's a lot of great cast in here.
Mm-hmm.
And the story, well, it could be crazy and impossible. It's okay. It's nothing too.
I mean, it kind of was
nothing too big
That's
for
the point of
Ethan
it.
Hunt's britches.
But that's the point, right? That's the point.
And you know, I will say I wasn't too sure about the ending, because as much as closure as it gets, you could really question, does it give you closure? But I don't know if they're going to continue past this film.
I would say it leaves room for potential stories.
For potential.
Yeah.
Maybe almost like a John Wick thing where it's a spin-off of some sort. And that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But again, for a final film in this franchise to wrap it up, I really, really did enjoy it. I think the action was there. The story was on point.
Mm-hmm.
It closed what it had set up last movie. You see what happens to your favorite characters. Again, I think it was really well done. The action was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, you know, and it's going up against Lilo and Stitch this coming week. But let's talk about budget real quick. So budget for this movie, again, this is because it was filming during the strikes, the industry, whenever the strikes did happen in 2023. So this film was filming during those, so it had to get delayed. And so approximately budget is $400 million to achieve profitability of this movie. And I'll talk about it again, guys. The reason why I talk about budget and the reason why I talk about box office is because a lot of moviegoers nowadays are like, movies aren't as good as anymore. And I hate to say it, but I have to politely agree on certain levels. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, though, I understand where they're coming from, and it sucks because TV's killing it. TV shows have killed it. I mean, this year alone, I mean, The Bear is about to come out again. Mm-hmm. Penguin, it came out last year. Andor, it just got wrapped up. It's just so beautiful artwork of cinema, and I just really wish that was a movie. But anyways, so in order to get a really good return back, it needs to make $1 billion in the box office. At least
I don't know if that's
at least $1 billion.
I don't think that's accurate. But
yeah, it is.
The last film,
because of marketing expenses and everything, because they're paying for the tour, it has to make at least $1 billion.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I will contest that, but I will say the last film had a budget. The part one, Dead Reckoning, had a budget of $291 million. Yeah, and the box office earned $571 million.
Which that makes sense, but it's a different time.
It could be possible. There's been movies, part of a franchise, that have hit that $1 billion mark. So could it be, because you know there are tons of Mission Impossible fans. This is like a really iconic franchise that I think people will turn out to see because they want to see the wrapped up closure, the final part of this, if you will. I
mean, I completely agree too, and also they could take their dad's dad, and like I said, it's a whole legacy there. So it needs according to Google, it needs to make $1 billion. So that's what I'm just like, I don't know if it will. I don't know if it'll make the $1 billion mark. I think it'll get. I think honestly, probably around 700 something million. I think it'll reach.
I would hope so. I hope people turn out to see this.
And that's worldwide. I'm not talking. I'm talking about worldwide.
Worldwide.
I'm talking about 700 something million worldwide total box office. That's what I'm talking about. Opening weekend. And that's the thing too, is that normally movies like this, they really go in opening weekend, and then after that they kind of take a dip. So
it's just hard because, like, again, you have the major contender, which is Lilo and Stitch. You know, you're gonna have a lot of people turn out for that, like a lot of the families, kids, parents are going to turn out for that, so that might take away from the potential earnings, like you say, opening weekend. But we'll see. I think it is definitely going to make a lot of money, but we will see. We will stay tuned if it's going to be profitable or not.
And then we go back to because we haven't done ratings yet, but going back to the action sequences in here and Tom Cruise's performance, and one of the things, of course, everyone knows about, and we, you know, it's without recognition, right, that he does his own stunts in this movie, and it's just truly phenomenal. His portrayal of Ethan Hunt's it's you know, it shows the highlight of what he's done, everything he risks, everything. Last movie, it was a motorcycle one. Remember the motorcycle on the plane or something like that? I think this one was a different plane, and then what was you gonna say?
One of my favorites is, I think it's the fourth one. I think it's Ghost Protocol. where he jumps off the building and he has the little like suit.
Oh yeah,
the little squirrel suit.
yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But I think that was just
That was cool.
one of the coolest things I've seen.
One of my favorite scenes, of course, is with Henry Cavill, and then that bathroom scene where they fight. That's a really good scene. I think that's pure cinema right there. And it just, again, I go back to where, like, do I love the franchise? No, but I still cannot deny some action-packed cinema there that will last on for years to come in filmmaking and film. That scene alone should be in film school just to see how it's filmed, how it's made, movie making, filmmaking, and everything. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. But I have to recognize and respect the franchise for what it's done throughout the years and how much entertainment it's really brought to audiences. And I really do. Yeah, I loved it. I love seeing other people really enjoy a franchise as much as I have on certain other properties, right? Like Batman, Superman, Star Wars, stuff like that.
It has a following. Yeah.
For sure. But we go back to where, like, I really enjoyed the character development because we got a huge character development here between the beginning of the second act and then of course, all the way to the third act, to the climax of the film, and it leaves you the edge of your seats. Definitely, anxiety was up in the air. Definitely,
I know. I mean, because you kind of figure how it's gonna end, but then you see all these circumstances and, like you say, all these kind of side missions to complete the final mission, and you're just like, you don't know. It's such a close call every time, and it's just that's what makes, I think, a really good.
I would say,
thriller.
I would say, because I know people are going to compare it to the other movies. I would say this isn't the best Mission Impossible movie. I'll say that it's not the best, but it still gives a cinematic experience in the theater and really leaves an ending, if you will. I think to his character, kinda. If you will, but again, we're not gonna go too much into spoilers.
To you.
Yeah, we're not gonna go too much into spoilers. But yeah, no, it's really cool. And again, I will definitely be watching behind the scenes footage of how Tom Cruise took over these stunts and what he did and stuff like that. So I'm very, very excited to see all that as well, because obviously after the film release we'll see more of that as it comes along and everything. So I really did appreciate that. And of course we saw Angela Bassett in here too as well.
She's such a queen. I love her so much
as Madam President.
She's a great Madam President. I would give it, if we're talking about ratings, I would give it a solid 8 because I was thoroughly entertained. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. And I agree with you. Is it the best Mission Impossible? No. But for a final chapter of a long, was it almost 30 years of a franchise going on, it was really darn good.
And see, I know you mentioned it already. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say the same rating as well, 8. One of the things I'm going to say, though, is that I saw a few film reviews earlier in the day, in the morning, where people were saying that the reason why they didn't like it as much is because they kept pushing the flashbacks. And it's funny too because you were like, I love the flashback because I can remember it. So it's just funny how you get two different perspectives of it, and it just it's one of the same.
I think also because you got to remember, not everyone has watched all of the films. And 2, if they have, maybe not everyone can remember all of the films, because there are certain ones that I do and do not remember. Like I know there was one character that they kind of tied together from the first one, and you're like, oh, it was an moment, like in the theater when they put those pieces together. Oh yeah. So again, not everyone remembers everything like that. So that's why I appreciated the flashbacks.
And obviously they look totally different now, so many years later.
Well, it's been almost 30 years.
So that's crazy.
Again, I liked that. That's why I enjoy those, and I think they were done well. The only caveat was I think they were trying to jam pack so many flashbacks because there's so much history, so much film. The scenes where they cut, like to like where they show it, it's just a little quick for me. I would have liked to see like maybe a second or two longer for every scene, but that's just a me thing. Okay. But again, I still really enjoyed that they put that in there. Yeah. No, I'm gonna say you saw an 8 out of 10 as well, guys. Be sure to check it out. Be sure to check it out as well. Let us know in the comments down below. Questions for you guys. What do y'all think of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning? Final, if you will. All right, guys. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. aka Ryan 680. I'm Angela. That's Callie Ange.
See you at the movies, guys. Latest.